Hey y'all, I'm Paula Deen, and during the holidays, you know, whether you're the host of the party or the party hopper, you can never go wrong by having extra cookies on hand. So this holiday season, I want to make sure you're not dipping your hand into an empty cookie jar, because I want to share with you a monster cookie recipe that's just packed full of, you know, almost every yummy morsel you can imagine. And after that, I want to show you a simple last-minute hidden mint cookie recipe that you're not going to believe. And then to finish everything off, I'm going to make the most delectable gingerbread girls and boys. I can smell them already, and the kids are going to love them. So you guys, preheat those ovens and get your cookie cutters out. It's time to get those holiday cookies in the oven. And get Ginger and the kids, because I'm going to need them since today's show is all about holiday cookies. I had to go get them out of the pantry so that they can help me make this next batch of cookies. Look how cute Ginger is. And her children, aren't they precious? And the first cookie recipe I'm going to share with y'all is called monster cookies. All right, now we're going to mix our 3 eggs with 1 cup of sugar, and then we're going to add a half of a box of light brown sugar. I think this is called a monster cookie, probably because it's got just about everything that you would put in a cookie, whether it be a chocolate chip or an oatmeal or a peanut butter. This cookie recipe has it all in one. And now we're going to add peanut butter. And this is a 12-ounce jar of peanut butter. And you can use your choice. You can use either creamy or peanut. I'm using creamy though today. So next we're going to add a stick of butter. You know, I told you this recipe has some of it all in there. And you need to make sure that your butter is softened to room temperature. Otherwise it would be way, way too hard for you or the kids to mix this by hand. All right, so we've got our butter mixed up in there real good. So the next thing we're going to add is our quick cooking oats. Now, this is not an instant, and it's not the one that takes like 30 minutes to cook. This is your 5-minute quick cooking. So we're just going to dump that in there and fold that in. And you see how stiff this is getting? It's going to be a real, real thick batter. Y'all, I've got a confession to make. Then I forgot to add the vanilla, the salt, and the baking soda. So I don't think it'll mess up the recipe. So we're going to quickly do that. A half a teaspoon of vanilla, a half a teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Nothing like doing a little recipe backwards, is it? But it'll still work. But we had to make sure we got our soda in so they would rise up for us. All right, so now we're going to add a half a cup of chocolate chips. You can use the semi-sweet, the milk chocolate, any kind of chip you want. And we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of raisins. And then Ginger and I are real excited now because we're fixing to add multicolored chocolate candies. Oh, Ginger is just too stinking cute, isn't she? All right, now we're going to stir all these in to our batter. Now I'm going to place these by the rounded tablespoon onto a parchment-lined cookie sheet. You can use a spray or anything that you really want to use. The important thing is, though, when we're dropping our cookies, that we want to make sure that we have them all the same size so that you won't have some getting done before the others, because you don't want a cookie that's tiny and burned by the time the bigger ones on your sheet are done. Now, our oven has been preheated to 350 degrees, and you'll want to make sure that you don't overbake these. We're going to bake this sheet for about 8 to 10 minutes, but you'll want to keep an eye on it, like I said, and make sure you don't overbake them. All right, and in the other oven, I've got a sheet ready. All right, we've got a batch ready here. Ooh, don't those look good? They remind me of cookies that my grandmother Paula used to make. Ooh, I can't wait to taste. And of course, you can't have cookies without milk, can you? It's my favorite time, kiddies. It's taste time. Look at this cookie. I love raisins. They're so good. I promise your family and friends are gonna love this one. And when we come back, I'm gonna show y'all a trick with a refrigerated store-bought cookie dough, how to make that cookie real special. And I'll tell you about when I made it for Jamie and Bobby. And y'all don't want to go anywhere, girls and boys, because I'm going to show you how to make your own gingerbread, and that's going to be coming up next. So I'll see y'all back in a minute. Today is all about holiday cookies. And I'm fixing to share with y'all a recipe that makes you look like you're really put in a lot of time and effort on a cookie when you really haven't. And I call it hidden mint cookies. And the first time I made it for Jamie and Bobby, they had a fit over them and they said, "Mama, this is just one of the best cookies. How did you get that stuff in the center?" And I said, "Well, guys, y'all won't believe just how simple this cookie is." Now, this is just a regular sugar cookie dough that you get in your dairy case at the grocery store. And we're going to slice these real thin. And you'll want to make sure that you put these a good ways apart on your sheet, because these are going to rise. And we're cutting those, gosh, probably about 1/4 of an inch thick. Now, on this cookie dough, I'm gonna lay a chocolate wafer cookie, and you can find these in your grocery store too. Or if you've got some of those chocolate mint Girl Scout cookies, maybe in the freezer, you can use those and they'll be delicious. Now we're just gonna lay a cookie on top of our dough. Just like that. And then we're going to come back in here and put another slice of dough on top of it. Now you could put anything in the inside of this cookie. You know, all the little bite-sized candy bars. You could put one of those in there. Now I've gotten an egg, just one whole egg, and I've beaten it up. And I'm just going to brush those, because now we're fixing to put some chopped pecans on top of these, and that egg will just help the pecans stick. And you could use any kind of nut. So now we're gonna put this cookie in a preheated 375-degree oven, and we're gonna let it cook for about 10 minutes. All right, let's get that in the oven. And while these are baking, we're gonna start on our gingerbread people. And these are really easy to make. Not quite as easy as those, but they're really easy to make. The only thing that's gonna take time is your dough's gonna have to sit in the refrigerator. All right, today I've mixed up an all-purpose flour, baking soda, fresh ground nutmeg, ground cinnamon, ginger, salt, butter, dark brown sugar, eggs, and last but not least, a rich molasses. And after I get all these properly folded in together, I'm gonna get in there, y'all, and use my hands to form my dough into a ball. And next, I'm gonna wrap him in plastic wrap and throw him in the fridge for about an hour or so he can set up. That'll make him much easier for us to roll out. Might as well go ahead and get my milk out while I'm in there. And this dough is is nice and chilled. And I'm just gonna break off a little piece of it and work a little bit at the time. Now you'll need some extra flour. You wanna make sure that you dust your rolling pin real good so that your dough won't stick to your pin. Now I've got a tray of gingerbread men already started. So we're just gonna take our cookie cutter, and you'll wanna make sure that you run that through the flour so your dough won't stick to it as well. And look at that, the perfect little gingerbread. Now you can put these cookies closer together because they're not going to rise much because we've used an all-purpose flour. All right, so we're going to put these in the oven and we're going to bake these for about 10 minutes on 350 degrees. Now your leftover dough, you can take it and just re-roll it so we won't have almost any waste at all. So in we go. Hey, Rennie. And I've got a pan ready here. And you can see how they've hardly risen at all. They're still about the same size that they were. And when we come back, I'm gonna show you how we're gonna bring these little gingerbread people to life. We're gonna decorate them and then we're gonna taste them. And we're gonna taste one of Bobby Deen's favorite cookies, the hidden mint cookies that's in the oven. So don't go anywhere because we're coming to life. Now our cookies are ready. Oh, yum. And see how I told you they were gonna spread? These are big cookies. So we're gonna let these cool a minute, and while those are cooling, we're gonna come over here and decorate our gingerbread men and women. So I'm gonna start with some powdered sugar, and you'll wanna be very, very careful that you don't add too much milk. Oops, I'm making a mess. Because a little milk and confectionate sugar goes a long way. So be very, very careful during this step. And just add a little bit at the time until you get it right. Because you can always add too, but you can't take it out. All right, now we're gonna separate this. Into 3 different batches. All right, we're gonna color one of them green. Now you can use your favorite color for your gingerbread cookies. All right, and in our next bowl, we're gonna give him some red food coloring. And we don't need a whole bunch. All right, just gonna spoon him into the bottom of the bag. And then I'm gonna come over here to the corner and I'm gonna put the tiniest hole. In fact, I'm probably gonna need my eyeballs for this one because we don't wanna make that hole very big at all. One more time. It's just that simple. All right, one more little snip. All right, we're ready to decorate. And the reason I left some white, y'all, is because I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna make a gingerbread Paula with white hair And then I'm gonna make a gingerbread Michael with just a tuft of hair. Cause you know, Michael's losing his hair. So, oh, I love it. Okay, now we're gonna give Michael a t-shirt. Well, right now he's naked from the waist down. But we're gonna fix that. I think I'll give him some white shorts. He loves his shorts. All right, let's give him, he's real hairy. So let's give him some hair coming out of his shirt. And there's his eyes. And he's got a big old smile, but you can't see it for his mustache. Perfect. All right, let's make him green-eyed. I love it. All right, now I'm gonna make me a pretty pink dress. So how fun is that? I can't get over how much it looks just like Michael and kind of resembles me too. Y'all are gonna have so much fun doing family portraits, but the main thing is you're gonna be in the kitchen with your family having fun, because that's what it's all about. And I wanna show y'all this hidden mint cookie. Look at that surprise center. But no one would ever guess that this was a refrigerated dough bought from your grocery store. Gertie, come on and I'll give you a cookie. Come here. You ready for your cookie? Come here, Rennie. Oh! There you go. Aren't those yummy? You know, I'm always telling Michael that I just love him to pieces and I could just eat his head off. And I was finally able to do it. Love you, Mikey. Y'all stick around, because when we come back, I'm gonna show you the easiest recipe for chocolate candy that you have ever seen. But come back, you're gonna love it. So today's tip for y'all is all about how to make a delicious homemade candy. Now in this pot, I had 2½ cups of sugar, 6 ounces of evaporated milk, and 1/2 stick of butter. And I've cooked that for 8 minutes. And in this bowl, I'm gonna add about 3/4 of a pound of chocolate candy, about 2 cups of pecans, and 1/2 of a 7-ounce jar of marshmallow cream. Now we're just gonna pour this hot, sweetened, buttery milk over all those ingredients. And that bubbling hot, sweet milk is gonna melt the chocolate and the marshmallow. Look, it looks all caramelly because the sugar has kind of darkened. And you can see we've got a wonderful homemade candy in less than 60 seconds. So all I'm gonna do is spoon these morsels of candy up on parchment paper. You're gonna wanna drop these quickly because they cool quickly. Doesn't that look good? You're gonna love this one. You know, my time that I've had with y'all today has kind of just put visions of sugar plums dancing through my head. Look at this cookie buffet right here. You know, whether you choose to do the gingerbread cookies with the children and everybody make their own portrait, or the hidden mint cookies that are so good, or the monster cookies. Who can refuse that? And I hope that you'll try the tip that I gave you today on the homemade chocolate candy. The pecan clusters are so yummy. So until next time, y'all, I want to send you love, best dishes, and happy holidays from my kitchen to yours.